that in the course of that investigation. And in fact, most of what we're dealing with in terms of the Patriot Act and all of the infringement on constitutional rights is a pretext. I don't know, some people call it a false flag, right? And we all know what false flags are. Whether that was one or not, I don't know. But what I do know is that they do happen. And that we are being steadily subjugated by an elite that follows secular humanism and stands on Marxist foundation. The only remedy is to return to bottom-up government that the founding fathers envisioned and established, and to tip it over. And the good news is that every socialist system falls eventually because some percentage of the people under the domination of the left rebel, always, and the elites respond with police-state repression. When that police-state repression begins, that's when revolution starts, and it's the revolution that then overthrows the totalitarian order. That's what the global populist movement is. My wife and I did a 27-country tour of the populist movement over the last 2 years. I was in London for Brexit. I was in Romania. I was in Hungary. I was in Bulgaria. I was in Central Asia, in Kyrgyzstan, where we actually changed the constitution to protect marriage between a man and a woman. I'm going to start preaching.
Go ahead.
I wonder why can't people in the government be held accountable who raise the right hand and swear to protect and defend the Constitution against all enemies and foreign and domestic. They swear a vow, they make a vow, they break it. Why can't they be fired?
Well, because people who do not control their government end up being controlled by their government. And we fell asleep at the switch quite a long time ago. We have been under subjugation for a long time. And we're now past the stage where people are rebelling on a personal level. And we're at the place where a revolution has begun. What do you think the Trump presidency represents? The Trump presidency, like Brexit, is revolution. It's global revolution. And even though the media is hiding and suppressing the truth of this is much bigger than they can stand. Right? They're mounting a counteroffensive under what they call the resistance, right? And this is, the Hillary, Obama, hard left, Soros. They're unified. It's the purple uniparty, right? The purple revolution. They are mounting a counteroffensive for the 2018 election. It's going to be the great election war of 2018. This is bigger than 2016. Now, we never would have had this if it hadn't been for the amazing Trump victory. But this is going to be just as important, maybe more important. I think they may even take some ground back. But you know what? All the power and force that they can muster is not equivalent to counter the revolution that is taking place. Right? The people of the world will not tolerate globalism, right? And they are not accepting. They're not falling for the propaganda anymore. And it is percolating. It is building. And just like a wave crashes against a barrier that can absorb the shock, right? That wave of populism, populist conservatism, is going to come back stronger in 2020. You just watch. Donald Trump is going to be reelected. He's going to end up being a better president than Ronald Reagan was. And we're going to see major changes. The swamp will be drained in this country.
Yeah, this is for Dan. That's all right. So I believe, I used to believe, and I still do, the economy's stupid. But I don't believe that's the first step. I do believe the problem with our country is that, basically God has turned his face from us. I don't know if he's actually come forward with, actual judgment, but he definitely has taken away, I believe, turned his face. To me, the first step is a spiritual step versus an economic step. And I believe one of the reasons why I've really followed you is your stance, your abolition. It made so much sense, abolition versus pro-life. So, do you have a plan for, you are elected, you are governor, what is your plan of action for eliminating abortion in Oklahoma? And I believe if that happens, I believe Oklahoma then I think will be blessed, and whatever economy we put, I think we'll just be
Well, let me quickly say that Jesus said that it doesn't profit a man if he gains the whole world but he loses his soul. But at the same time, we don't have to be one or the other. So one of the things that the opponents are trying to do is to marginalize me as a single issue candidate, right? But we can chew gum and walk at the same time. So we can actually talk about ending abortion while we also talk about ending crony capitalism. So you can do this, you can do both of those at the same time. Without getting into heavy detail, if I'm elected governor, I will call immediately a special session of the legislature, and I will ask for a bill on my desk that will call abortion murder and treat it as such. I will also ask in that same special session for a one-time appropriation to hire an outside auditing firm to audit every agency in our government from top to bottom. I will also ask for a third request, and that is that any agency, commission, or authority that receives tax dollars from Oklahoma taxpayers will be given, or the governor will be given the authority to audit those authorities and agencies as well. If they receive tax dollars, one of the prime examples would be the Turnpike Authority. It does not fall within the purview of the legislature or the governor, so we would have to change the law to be able to actually audit them. So that's what I would do. Now, there would be many other steps that would follow, because if I sign a bill that the legislature gives me that calls abortion murder, you know what the ACLU is going to do. They're going to immediately file an injunction, and then a fight will ensue with our state Supreme Court. So there would be many other steps, but that would be step one.
Can I answer that question also? That this is what I would do, and I would invite you to consider this for yourself too. I've made my first, and I think my most important campaign promise in Massachusetts is that the very first official policy decision that I'll make is an executive order declaring the personhood of the unborn.
Yeah.
And I will task every person under my authority to advance and protect that order practically, politically, and legally all the way to the Supreme Court. And I think that's what has to happen. It's the federal judiciary that gave us this mess. And it's the federal judiciary that has to undo it. That's what I would do. And then the additional thing, I don't have a legislature that would cooperate with the things you're talking about. But I would basically be standing by myself, using the authority of the governorship and basically an all or nothing battle for the babies, in which I would even call for the state police to go and stand in front of the doors of Planned Parenthood, right? And just let it happen what's going to happen. I probably end up getting thrown in jail.
In case you didn't know, the law in the state of Oklahoma, statutory law, abortion is called homicide.
Yeah.
It's against the law, but we're just not enforcing it. The other thing is the state House of Representatives last year passed a resolution publicly calling abortion murder. So that was substantial. You didn't hear that in the news. It kind of went in and went past. But that is huge when the state House of Representatives calls abortion murder. So that's a huge first step. I had a question right here. Go ahead.
Good evening. I'm glad to be here. I've read all three of your books and learned quite a bit from them. I really think, Dr. Liza, you've hit the nail on the head where we're at in the church, because we do not recognize what we're dealing with is worldview and our assumptions of how we look at things. Either God exists or God does not exist. There's no middle ground in that. But yet, if God exists, then we are standing for what He has revealed to us. And this is the problem both of you get involved in. How can we get the church to realize this is not an us versus them, a left versus right, political, conservative? This is a moral issue. This is a spiritual issue we don't need to be running from.
You know the way you do it is you just do it. When you create a controversy, that people have to take sides on,
Yeah.
that's when they take sides.
Well,
And that's how you do
so-
it. You can't sort of coax people to you gotta be running into the battle for somebody to follow you. It takes leadership. That's what it takes. And it takes leadership that's fearless and that actually does things that the other side doesn't expect. Right? And that create a crisis of some kind. A crisis in which people have to take sides. Right? Like declaring the personhood of the unborn. Right? When you do that, then people have to take sides. And that's how things get done. That forces the people in the church that would otherwise, be twiddling their thumb somewhere and hiding, right? Oh, I don't want to be involved. The greater the controversy that you can produce, the greater the challenge you can produce in the society, the greater the pressure there is on people to actually have to make. That's what happened in the Revolutionary War, right? It was only about a third of the population that was involved, that actually fought. 2/3 stayed out of it, right? But because they stepped forward and took military action, everybody was stuck with the result of that. If you'd taken a vote of all the members of, should we do this or should we not do this, it wouldn't have passed. It's the radicals, the revolutionaries, the children of the First Great Awakening who were filled with the zeal of the Lord, who understood the accountability to God. They went forward and they made something happen that everyone else had to deal with. And because of that, we have the United States of America.
One last question. Oh, okay, we'll do two questions right here.
This is for Dan. Dan, you mentioned the proper role of government, and you mentioned the Supreme Court, the state Supreme Court. As I recall, the federal Supreme Court tells the state Supreme Court what they can and cannot do. And what is your role, and how far can we go in the role of proper government to find the federal?
Well, first of all, you're incorrect about the state Supreme Court being told what to do by the federal Supreme Court. Actually, the federal Supreme Court doesn't have the authority to tell anyone.
That's right. That's good.
They only have the authority that we allow them to have. Let me say something a while ago. They asked about why does this happen. Jefferson says that governments derive their power from the consent of the governed. I would argue that regardless of what kind of government we have, it's the consent of the governed. If we have terrible governance because we're consenting to it, if we have proper, but we've not done anything. The point is, we've sat by and let it happen. So if we allow the government that we have to exist, it's the consent of the government. Or if we consent to proper government, we will force it to happen. Here's what I believe must happen. This is the federal Supreme Court does not have the authority to override the sovereignty of the state of Oklahoma. It never did have that authority, and it doesn't have the authority now. But they think they do, and we allow them to have it, so therefore they have it. So this is one of the reasons why I'm so different from all of the other candidates. See, I'm the guy that will stand up and say, no, you don't have the authority. It is your opinion, and we appreciate your opinion. We happen to not agree with your opinion. If I've been the governor of Oklahoma, when the U.S. Supreme Court threw out our state constitution, which was legally, lawfully amended to define marriage as one man, one woman, someone asked me, what would you have done if you had been the governor? I'd have told the U.S. Supreme Court, thanks for your opinion. It just so happens, though, that the opinion of Oklahomans is different, and we're going with our state constitution. That will come with a cost.
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely.
You see, we're going to have to be ready to fight.
Amen.
They will not relinquish the power that they have gained over the last many decades willingly and easily.
Right.
We will have to stand up and demand it. And they're going to threaten us with every possible ploy and tool that they can come up with. Now, there are examples in history where states have done this, and they were quite successful. The problem is it just hasn't been done in a long, long time. So it is time for the states to begin to take back their sovereignty. If you read the Federalist Papers and all the others, it's very, very clear that the federal government was never delegated the powers that it is now assumed.
Right.
So that would be my answer.
Last question right here. You can ask questions now.
Dan, what is your position on school choice? And the other thing, it's an understanding that higher ed cannot be audited.
hurting our youth. There's a reason why 66% of our youth think that socialism is a better government than ours.
There you go.
This is one of the reasons why I would ask the legislature to give the governor the authority to audit any agency, authority, whatever, that gets tax dollars from Oklahoma taxpayers, which would include IRA. But my answer to the greater question is, where do I stand on school choice? I believe that parents should hold all of the cards in making a decision as to how and where their children are educated and where their education dollars are spent. The way to fix education is to decentralize it.
Right.
And I don't just mean get rid of the feds. We need to get the feds out of Oklahoma education. But let me tell you who else we need to get out of Oklahoma education. And that's the Oklahoma Department of Education. We need to return all control to the local school boards of all of the districts.
Folks, we're going to give you some marching orders here. We're going to have a word of prayer for both of these men, and then we're going to be dismissed. You